with parents themselves about these issues. Because it's not a simplistic let young people get married issue. A lot of young people don't know what they're getting into when they get married. They don't know what responsibility is. They don't know what a job is. They don't know what it means to be a decent husband or raise kids. And even if a 19-year-old gets married and gets his wife pregnant and they're having a kid before they're 20, right? They're kids themselves, mentally at least, right? Islamically, in the Shari'i sense, they're old enough to get married. But that doesn't mean they're socially mature, they're religiously mature, they're spiritually mature. All these maturities are missing, right? So it's a conversation where level heads from every side have to come together and have a chat. I personally believe this is a problem across the world for Muslims. DEC Muslims are sampling because that's us, but it's across the world that this is an issue. Illicit relationships are rampant in Egypt. They're rampant in Algeria. They're rampant in Pakistan. They're not just here. Muslims are, the young kids are doing whatever they're doing, even in Muslim kids in India and Bangladesh, everywhere, right? It's one thing to just close your eyes and say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Those are the modern people. They're not the masjid people. That's the majority of the ummah, man. 99.5% of the ummah is that. So if you just say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, then what's left? You know what I'm saying? And what's also happening at the same time, the 0.05% that's left, not even 0.5, that's too generous. 0.05% that's left is too busy arguing about which scholar is not on the path, and which masjid you should not go to, and what how long your beard has to be, and dude, we can discuss that in good times. When we're in good times, we can discuss what color clothes are closer to the sunnah. Right now, we have people that are committing zina, that are leaving Islam. That you go and tell them, you tell a young guy who comes in with their earring, right? That's haram. This guy's almost leaving Islam. The fact that he showed up to the masjid is a big deal. So in his mind, it's not just halal or haram, it's like earring or Islam. What should I pick? Well, I kind of like my earring. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a missing sense of proportion in our religion of the catastrophe that's hitting the ummah. It's high time that all across, I don't care what denomination, ideology, I don't care what people come from, religious leadership has to ring the bell and say, look guys, we need to sit down and sort some things out. The biggest crisis of the ummah is not political, it's not economic, it's not sociological. Biggest problem of the ummah is family. Biggest problem. Father can't talk to son, mother can't talk to daughter, husband can't talk to wife, young man can't talk to his dad and tell him, look, I need to get married, or I'm in a relationship, how do I get out? How many of our boys have girlfriends and they can't, I love her, I can't help myself, what am I supposed to do with all these feelings, etc., and I can't talk to my parents because they say it's haram, and they'll say I can't get married. Well, who am I supposed to talk to then? They're just going to go crazy, and eventually you have to give something up. If you have these kinds of pulls, your parents are pulling at you, your religion's pulling at you, your hormones are pulling at you, the girl is pulling at you, everything's pulling at you, right? Eventually you have to say enough. I'm going to have to let something go. So what do most kids let go? Parents, religion, they hold on to the girl. And then when problems occur, then they let her go too. And then now they're by themselves and they're away from the masjid because they're depressed. And they're just, a lot of people are like that.
No one, just to take that a stage further, because I was just discussing this with him. I've got kids we send to the madrasa, they're like under 16, a little under control. But after 16...
So you think?
Well, still there has to be obviously the constant.
Yeah, because 12-year-old kids talk to each other, and what they talk about, we should know.
Yes, agreed. Yeah. But the point is that in this country, especially after 16, they've got nowhere to go.
Yeah.
How do we attract them to the mosque?
You guys have to have the most killer youth programs. You should have the most amazing. Like, teens should want to be at the masjid because it's the most fun place to be. They should want to be there. It's the most amazing place.
How do we make it a fun place?
Well, I don't know the culture here, but here's what we did in our masjid. I used to be a youth director at a masjid. They put me in charge of a Sunday school. I told them it's a bad idea because I'm not gonna. Elders are gonna hate me if you guys give me this job. They said we trust you, whatever. Go ahead. I eliminated all the textbooks from Sunday school. There was not a single lesson of Islamiyat taught in Sunday school to teenagers in my program. All we did, it was in New York, in Long Island. All we did every week. Let's go to the beach. Fajr time. Let's pray Fajr and go to the beach. Then let's play some basketball. Then let's get some donuts. Let's hang out. Oh, let's play some video games after that. And go home. Why? Because teens, all they need is a friend. They don't need advice because they don't listen to it. You have teenagers, you should know that. There were teenagers sitting in this program, they didn't listen to a word I said. Not last night, not now. And that's okay, because they're teenagers. It's all right. We have to know who they are. All they need is, and probably the only reason they came is a friend was coming. They just operate with friends. That's their operating system. Okay? So, give them friends. Best thing you can do for a young Muslim is give them a good Muslim friend. Best thing you can do for them. They don't need advice, they don't need lectures, they don't need to memorize surahs, they don't need to learn fiqh, because they won't practice any of it unless their friends practice it. Our entire project is give them a place to make friends. Give them a place where they're not judged, where they can hang out, where they can feel good about themselves. All teenagers want to do is hang out. That's all they want to do. All girls want to do is talk. Give them a place to talk. You guys have Starbucks over here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shops, yeah.
We're just, I mean, our girls, they need a place to just sit and chat. Give them a place to chat in the masjid, or close to the masjid. A halal space where they feel comfortable, and they can just hang out. Because if we don't give them that, they'll find that online. They'll find that somewhere else. They'll just find it, right? So what we did in our masjid is, I taught this huge Arabic class, and we raised tons and tons of money just from that class. And our first investment, we put professional basketball hoops and night lights at the masjid. And every single night, guys are getting together, barbecuing, playing ball, coming to third, fourth rak'ah in the jama'ah. Elders are yelling at, hey, salat started, go inside. These are the guys that were at the club last night.
Yeah.
I don't mind if they join the fourth rak'ah. I don't mind. At least they're here. Even if he doesn't come in for salat. Dude, he's within like 100 feet of the masjid. That's a big deal.
It is.
This guy didn't even know that there's such a thing called masjid. He doesn't even, a Muslim kid doesn't even know that, right? We have to create, like, part of our investment needs to be, what are youth into?
Is when we become religious, we stay in our religious cocoon, we
Yeah.
forget the rest of the ummah.
That's correct.
And how they're suffering. And this is what we...
It has to change. And plus the other thing is, look at the prophets, right? Alayhi salatu wasalam. Salih alayhi salam, good example. He would go to the business places of people, where the sinners are. He'd go to where the sinners are to go talk to them. Right? We, religious folks, will never be seen near city center, near the club scene, near the party. Why? Because that's haram, astaghfirullah al-azim, right? You don't deal with those people. You have family members that are liberals, you don't even hang out with them, don't even talk to them. Because they're too liberal. We have to hang out with our own kind. What's the whole point of da'wah? You go to people that are the farthest from you, and you bring them into your fold, you invite them, right? And if you really want to see change, it won't happen at the large scale level. It'll happen with you becoming a mentor for a handful of people, somebody else become a mentor for some other handful of people that are hanging out and getting together. It's a very human interaction type thing, you know? So, and that's the same that goes for like ISA, which I still can't understand. You call it ISA. I'm going to make so much fun of that in my next year's lectures. What do they call their MSAs? They're so impressed with Apple. Yeah.
Just one question from us, obviously. We have a good sized mosque in West London, in Harrow. Okay, now the thing is, if we need to invite
You don't need to invite.
what's the process?
You
One or two
totally
talk,
don't need to invite.
just to attract the youth as well.
I'm not coming.
Enough already. Had enough.
No, it's look, guys. I can't preach something and not practice it myself, right? One of the main messages myself and Sheikh Abdul Nasser try to deliver is family first, right?
Of course.
So me leaving home and traveling this far away from family will happen. If it'll happen once a year.
Oh, I
That's
see.
it. That's a cap for me. You know, so I'm thinking about, and even that's a struggle, right? So I'm gonna try to convince my family to maybe do like every December, maybe make a trip to Europe, whether it be UK or somewhere else,
Sure.
but once a year. That's all I can afford to do. And even that, I'm hoping next time I can convince my entire family to come,
Come with you.
so that I'm with the kids and stuff.
Yes.
People, and alhamdulillah, because of the internet and things like that, you guys know a lot more of me before I even got here,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
it's so alhamdulillah that there's that facility. But yeah, a lot of people ask about different masjids and stuff. I just can't. Not more often though. But is me and Abdul Nasser. There's two guys that travel. Abdul Nasser, I'm hoping, comes in the middle of every year, so maybe like May, June-ish. Possibly, yes. Possibly. I'll announce that tomorrow officially, but it's a possibility. And I'm thinking of making bayina, like me coming like at the end of every year, I think a regular thing. So we're hoping to make that like a regular schedule, inshallah, so that people know when to expect us to, you know. We can't give more than that because our hands are tied over there, you know.
Nouman, do you still run your 10-day courses in the
I
US?
don't anymore. I trained. I'm in the middle of finishing training for 3 of my students, and they started running them. And by the end of this year, I'll probably have 3 more and a couple of sisters too that can run them. I actually want to create an army of students that can teach that 10-day course.
Good, good.
Inshallah.
And when will you upload your daughter's videos?